And it started getting me thinking about the way people divide themselves into different groups, and the way that more now than ever, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people are adopting the victim mentality. And there's a different, like, there's women out there like, I'm a fucking feminist because women get paid less than men, and this and that, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they have their little rundown of complaints. And then they have the men's rights activists on the other side, like, oh, men are treated unfair in child support and blah, 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 blah. And they have their litany of complaints. And the Republicans have their complaints against the Democrats, and the Democrats have their complaints against the Republicans, and the independents have their complaints against both. And the Greens say that both parties are fucking shills that are the same, and you know, so on and so forth. And it's not just political, it's not just racial, it's not just gender, it's everything. It's an ideological thing, it's a racial thing, it's just a human thing. It's an overall thing. It encompasses every aspect of human life, this victim mentality, where people, and there's a difference, by the way, between a victim mentality and having legitimate grievances. Okay, plenty of people have a victim mentality, but still bring up legitimate points that should be addressed. But there's a difference between someone who just has legitimate grievances and someone who's given into the victim mentality. Someone who has legitimate grievances is like, look at these problems that exist in our society. We should work to solve them. And that's an increasingly rare type of person. Far more common now is the kind of person who says, there's these inequalities in society, and yeah, it'd be good if we could fix them at some point, but my real concern is that you treat me with deference because I have suffered under the oppression of whatever. It's like everyone must now capitulate to me because my group has been persecuted against. I'll give you an example. Like, I know a lot of transgender people, and I have at least one fairly close transgender friend. And I have nothing against transgender people. I fucking am totally accepting, totally cool with them. You know, if all someone wants from me is to use a certain gender pronoun and to just treat them like a human being, I can do that. That's fucking remarkably easy for me. It's remarkably easy for me to be like, oh, that person whose birth sex was male identifies as female. Okay, I'll say her, and I'll refer to her as a her, and I will treat her just the same as everybody fucking else. I will treat them with the same respect that I would any other fucking person. Very easy to do. And anyone who doesn't do that is a fucking asshole. But we'll get to that in a moment. There is another group, though. There's a large segment of transgender people who take it a step beyond that. Like, no, it's not just about that. It's about you must recognize that you oppress me, and you have to somehow capitulate and feel sorry for me, and I'm a victim, and you need to shower sympathy on me. And then once you shower the sympathy on me, I will label that as just justified guilt that doesn't even come close to making amends, and I will still treat you like shit, and I have the right to treat you like shit forever because my group of people was oppressed. And it's not just a transgender thing. It's everyone. Everyone fucking does this now. Atheists fucking do it. Everyone, and none of these groups communicate because of that. Because everyone's too busy playing the victim to actually talk to another person with different beliefs. You know, like, atheists, they just, like, when I was part of the atheist community, I was part of that bubble. I was part of that group of people that just, like, oh, you're religious? Well, you're fucking stupid. Ha 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 ha. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I think more logically than you. And, you know, they have, and it's all these different groups of people. They all feel that way. Like, I've spent so much time in the past few years talking to feminists on Tumblr. That's why I like that site, because it's a lot of feminists are there. And I like to fucking try to have a dialogue with them. I've never had a successful dialogue. Never. Even when I try to highlight the common grounds between me and the feminists, I'm like, look at all these things we share in common. Don't focus on what we disagree with. Focus on what we agree on. Maybe we can find some common ground. Maybe we can come to an understanding of how one another think. But they're not interested in that. No one's interested in that anymore. No one fucking wants to believe that everyone just views other ideologies as a threat to their own. Everyone just views other groups as a threat to their group. And no one's trying to use empathy to actually understand what goes on in another person's mind. Like, if you're a staunch communist, your goal in life should not be, I'm going to prove every fucking capitalist wrong. I'm going to defeat capitalism. Your goal should be, I need to understand them, because that view totally differs from my own. I need to understand how this person came to their conclusions, not just with an eye for defeating them or destroying them or showing that they're wrong, but I should be open-minded. I should be accepting. I should be able to look at this and say, oh, I can kind of see how this might make sense to this person. I know why it doesn't make sense to me, but I can see how it makes sense to them. And only then, only when you've gone through that process, only when you have real empathy for and understanding and intellectual understanding as well as an emotional understanding of what the hell your opponent is talking about, only then can you actually have a real fucking discussion with them. Only then can there be an actual dialogue. Only then is there any hope of either of you changing the other's mind. That's the fucking gamble that you have to make if you want to change people's minds. You have to be willing to change your own mind. And that's what's sorely lacking in this generation. And it's not just a generational thing, by the way. I mean, like, this time and place in history. I don't know, maybe this is how humanity has always been. But it's not how we can be in the future if there's going to be any hope of any sort of coherent, human objective. There's no shared intentionality between people anymore.